O.J. went to USC in 1967. So he's plugged out of the black community, out of black consciousness, and he's submerged in an all-white university. And I say this, and I don't say it facetiously, but he is seduced by white society.
Wow, we're back. That was a scene from the new ESPN documentary series on O.J. Simpson entitled O.J. Made in America. It's an in-depth portrait of a one-time national hero showing how this country deals with critical questions of race, celebrity, and justice altogether. As an athlete, Simpson's quick rise to fame allowed him to transcend racial boundaries. However, the film showcases the many ways that Simpson effectively shed his cultural identity as a black man, even as the fight for civil rights was well underway. Well, the ultimate irony of the story, as we all know, as depicted in the film, is that while Simpson wanted little to do with the African-American community during his rise, his eventual acquittal in 1995 hinged on his racial identity. Here's a clip that shows how Simpson's defense team built sympathy for him in a scene that takes place just before the jury was shown the interior of Simpson's mansion. Let's take a look.
When you would walk up the grand staircase, there was a large wall with pictures of the family, pictures of friends, pictures of O.J.'s career. Problem was, the overwhelming majority of pictures were of Caucasian friends and colleagues of his. We had an African-American jury, and we wanted to make sure that the home setting would reflect the themes that we wanted to reflect.
We took all of his white friends down, put all of his black people up, pictures he probably had never seen before. Because that's what we were told the jury would identify with. We made him blacker.
There was a Norman Rockwell lithograph that we took from Johnny's office, and we put that picture at the very top of the stairs.
Unbelievable. Episode 4 of the 5-part series premieres tonight on ESPN. I'm joined right now by the director of this great film, O.J. Made in America, Ezra Edelman. Ezra, thank you so much for this. You know, this manipulation of the jury reminds me of what happened in the old Jimmy Hoffa case where they brought Joe Lewis in to shake hands with him in front of a black jury. But, you know, everybody knew. We thought the life of O.J. Simpson. We thought we all figured it all out. And then we got into that courtroom. We didn't know anything was going to happen. I was covering it that whole year. I covered it every night for 2 hours. And when that jury went out for a couple hours, I thought they'd come back fast. And when they did come back fast, I said, conviction for sure. I was blown away, as so many people were. Tell us about how you went into this and what you're able to do here to teach us what we should have learned when it happened.
I mean, what's interesting about everything you're saying thus far in terms of the irony of the case, it seems to have been forgotten as far as what we're really dealing with as far as who O.J. was as a man before that trial in 1994. I think we, in the last 20 years especially, have, you know, as a culture, dismissed him as a monster. And I think one of the goals of this story is to just show him in all his human glory and all his and his celebrity, and have you be seduced by him once again to understand why people were so shocked in 1994 when we heard that he was accused of these murders, but also when you take, you know, a chance to look at everything that was out there even at the time to realize why we shouldn't have been shocked, because all these things were right in front of us the whole time and people ignored it, whether it's his history of abuse with Nicole, his friends around them, the LAPD, and these are things that sort of still to this day get overlooked. On the other hand, for me, this was really a chance to delve into the history of a city, of a police department, of a community that moved, black community, the migration to LA looking for a better life and arriving in a city where they realized conditions were not equal as they hoped it would be. And so that was part of the thing that I got, that was what I was interested in.
You know, we all know, even white people know, I think we've begun to learn how black people are treated by police in some cases, not always, but some cases. And there in the case, though, what we found out in the case, thanks to covering it every night, was that O.J. was sort of a favorite of the L.A. police. He wasn't treated like an African-American guy. He was treated like a celebrity. And they would go over and hang around his swimming pool with him and everything and sort of suck up to him, basically. And then somehow in the course of the trial, he was made a victim of the L.A. police, like other African-Americans. But he wasn't treated like other African-Americans at all. He was treated like a big shot, somebody they wanted to suck around and hang around with, treat like a big guy.
No, I mean, part of the whole thing is that, you know, in many ways, O.J. saw it from the get-go, from his time at USC. If you want to say he wanted to transcend his race, distance himself from his race, what have you. But what he wanted to be more than anything else from the time he was a kid was famous. And he achieved that. And once he gained that level of fame, he did exist, you know, in rarefied air. And that meant that he got special treatment. And, you know, when it came, so, I mean, that's just a fact.
Let me ask you about something that maybe you can't even get to as a filmmaker. And I love the way you're doing this on so many levels, like Citizen Kane. I mean, you're looking at it for so many prisms. It's just great stuff. By the way, I think it may be on that level. Let me ask you about him. You know, you hear about people that commit a crime once in their life, and a horrible crime, but never do it again, and never would do it again. What was it, if he did do it? Let's just put a little subjunctive there. Yeah. If he did do it, what drove him to do this butchering of his wife and that guy, and Goldman? This horrific, he never did this to anybody else in his life. He never did anything like it to anybody else. What happened? Do we know?
I mean, that's the million-dollar question, and I don't know that I'm the person in this forum to offer an explanation. I really think that if you watch the first 3 hours of this film, there's 3 hours of the film before you even get to the murders in 1994. And what we're trying to do with that is to really show an evolution of a character of what happens when you go through, you know, the world and you have that many gifts. You know, a gift for running the football. He's that charming. He's that talented. He's that beautiful. And he seduced people to the point where once you go through the world like that and you are given everything that you want at every minute of every day, I think what you see, there's a sense of entitlement that set in, a need for control that set in, even if you want to explain try to parse the relationship of him and Nicole. You know, he met Nicole when she was 18 years old, just out of high school.
Yeah, and he said, she's mine. I own her. I own her.
More or less, but I mean, I really don't want to offer any, you know, psychological evaluations beyond what we try to do in the film.
Where was Arnold Palmer? You know, for years we watched him in those Hertz commercials. They were like best buddies. I know that's, you know, salesmanship.
OJ was best buddies with everybody.
Well, where was Arnold Palmer in the courtroom? He never showed up as a character witness. Never. Never even talked to.
Yeah, but if you're asking about Arnold Palmer, you can ask about 100 or 200 people that O.J. was chummy with over the years, be it in the broadcast booth, you know, on commercial sets. And so, yeah, there were plenty of people that, in theory, would have been there to testify for him. Having said that, I think you find a lot of people like Arnold Palmer, they weren't exactly going to show up in the middle of the trial of the century to testify for O.J.
Yeah. I thought he was funny in Naked Gun 2.5 and Naked Gun 33 1/3. I thought there was something bizarre going on with him. I mean, he's not a great actor or anything, but there's something weird going on. You know, of course, you always see this in retrospect, like something was bugging this guy. He wasn't quite there. Anyway, thank you. Congratulations. I mean, people are talking about this at Citizen Kane levels. Anyway, that's something.
Thanks.
Ezra.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Ezra Edelman, thank you. Be sure to catch episodes 4 and 5 tonight, 4 and 5 tonight, and tomorrow on ESPN. Hardball, back up to this.